Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the SITREP for the day of 18 and 19 for the 24th to 25th of October for the Israeli-Hamas war. And I'm going to start off with something rather serious. And you guys know I don't go to war or criticize other people on and outside of Twitter. No, basically on Twitter I can be quite combative, confrontational, but outside of Twitter I don't. And this time around, I have to call this person out. And this person is Mr. Douglas Macgregor. This colonel, retired colonel, who have basically I even once upon a time tried to invite him on the super panel, but he is he got a lot of traction, becoming a very contrarian to whatever the establishment is pushing, and particularly in the Ukraine-Russian war, the Russian-Ukraine war, where his stance is pretty can be seen as if it's pro-Russian. But that is pretty similar to the situation with me, because sometimes that's practicality, in the sense that you tell the truth, and sometimes truth do leans to one side. And however, this time round, he made this claim on Tucker Carlson's show on X or Twitter, and he made this claim. He says that the U.S. forces and the U.S. Special Forces and Israeli Special Forces entered Gaza to rescue hostages, conduct recon, and end up they got shot to pieces and suffered heavy casualties. This is fake news. There is zero sources that I can find. I'm covering this war. You can see all these things that I plotted. I've been covering this war. I have been reading both official sources from the Israeli and the Hamas. I'm also looking at multiple Hamas channels that are reporting their stuff every day, and the Al-Aqsa Brigade official channel as well. I'm following pro-Palestinian channels, pro-Israeli channels. There is no such information, and imagine the amount of PR the Hamas can get if it can even get a single photo or any single thing of a single dead American or dead Israeli special force soldier within Gaza. Imagine something like that, something so big happening within Gaza, and is entirely not reported by any pro-Palestinian media. It was not mentioned about. It was not mentioned by Hamas, not mentioned by the Al-Aqsa Brigade. It's impossible. How can the whole freaking world have no one knows about this freaking incident except for Mr. Colonel Douglas Macgregor? So this entire thing just went viral. Every single anti-Israeli or pro-Russian or whatever, they are all sharing this part, this clip, or this quote that is coming only from him. That there is special forces, and particularly important U.S. special forces, Americans on the ground in Gaza with the Israeli to save hostages, is inconceivable. The fact that no one else is talking about, not even Hamas, they report even they shoot a single rocket at a small little village, they will talk about it. They will show off. They fire surface to air missile that they developed themselves. At a drone, they don't even talk about whether the surface to air missile actually hit the drone. They still report that they fired at the drone. Something like special forces suffering heavy casualties, you think Hamas will not talk about it? Zero. No sources. No one talked about it. So I have to call him out for this, and this is where we have to start this SITREP, because this is horrid. This is cloud chasing, and for someone of his stature, of his publicity, his reach, to the point where when I tried to invite him on a super panel, he only replied me with his secretary or something. He didn't even reply me directly. He's that kind of level, that level to the point where he don't even have to answer his email. And for someone like this to create to report something and say something so serious without sources, with no clear indication where this information even come from. Ukraine war stuff, no, I don't care. Everyone is reading the same source. He can come out with things, otherworldly things. I don't care. No, I don't care. But this is horrible. This is a time where things are highly sensitive. This is way more sensitive, in my opinion, than the Russian-Ukraine war. And he come out with an entirely fake scenario. I really cannot tolerate this. I tried to dig through the sources. I even searched in Arabic. I tried to find, there's no such information. So that's that. What we do have instead is the Israeli. They are calling for information about the hostages. So they use multiple methods and channels to try to reach the Gaza people, which I have no idea how are they going to reach them, because they already cut all the electricity and whatnot. So, and probably they throw leaflet or what. So they are trying to get the Gaza people, which they are currently starving and deprived water of, to get them to give information about any hostages, and in return they're going to give peace and better future for their children, and humanitarian needs and money and whatnot. So basically they are bribing the Gaza civilians for information about these hostages. I have no idea how this is going to work out, because it makes zero sense, because they already siege the entire place. Why would any of civilians want to betray their own people in this way? And there is no guarantee the Israelis will fulfill the promise, and they might actually just die if they are discovered to be providing information to the enemy. So let's see how this go. Otherwise, on top of that, there is some other military operation stuff. Before we go into Israeli, there was still more bombing. So because there is not a lot outside, so I'm going to put this inside the report. The Islamic resistance in Iraq continued their attack on the American bases. So this time around, the Ain al-Assad air base in the Anbar region of Iraq was hit by some rockets. They discovered the launch rail, and other than that, in the northeastern part of Syria, there is bombing at the border town of the El Yarubiyah. So there is an American base reportedly nearby. I have no freaking idea where's the base. But anyway, there's some explosion heard. So it's not clear what kind of situation that happened. Is it a mortar strike, drone strike? Nobody have any idea. So around it was located 5 kilometers away from the crossing. I'm not sure if this is referring to this one. No, it's not. So 5 kilometers away. So I'm not sure. I'm not going to find it. And there was also another attack. Shelling reported at the Abu Harja airport. So this Abu Harja airport, that beside the airport, there is actually this American base. This actually suffered another rocket salvo on this base over here in the northeastern part of Syria, that is actually in charge of protecting, you see, all these oil facilities. You can see in the northeastern part of Syria. So going back into Israel situation, there is airstrike reported within Syria, and this time around this is actually a bit more serious. The IDF actually attacked Syrian army positions. This time around, this is reported by the IDF. They say that they attacked military infrastructure and mortar launchers belonging to the Syrian army. This is officially reported by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, in response to an attack. And the attack was actually 2 rockets hitting the Golan Heights. They landed in empty fields, but the Israeli responded by attacking this launch site. And then after that, they are very unhappy about it, and they hammered the Syrian army position. So moving on, over at this Gaza Strip region, there is yet another amphibious operation that is in the northern part of Gaza, just over at Zikim. again, the Hamas forces able to launch amphibious operation, and this time now they managed to get through, despite the attempts by the Israeli Navy to hit all these divers and whatnot. They managed to still get through, and fighting is reportedly at Zikim. According to the Qassam Brigade, this is the official Qassam Brigade's Telegram channel, they reported that they are human frogs. Human frogs. But that's actually the translation in Chinese as well. Of no, divers is also called human frogs in Chinese. So anyway, they actually managed to infiltrate by the sea, and then they actually entered Zikim in the south of Ashkelon. Ashkelon is actually this this city over here, and there are supposedly armed clashes. According to the Israeli, what they say is that they are still hunting for these people. So to say clashes is a bit hard to say. So let's see how this goes. So according to the IDF, they say they simply say they are continuous searches in the area. They're just simply finding the person. So you can see the difference in terms of the narrative. For the IDF, they simply just say that oh, there is these people infiltrating into the Israeli settlement, whereas on the Palestinian side or the Hamas side, they simply say that oh, they are already fighting, armed struggle, So but unlikely that these people gonna have much radio communications with the HQ in the Hamas region, in Gaza region. So I doubt they actually know what is happening. These soldiers are likely to be just suicide soldiers. But what is interesting is that based on the video footage released by the IDF, it doesn't look like these divers come from anywhere near the border region. It seems like they actually launched their diving on this attempted amphibious operation further away. I cannot geolocate exactly where it is. It's not so clear to me. Yeah, my geolocation skills maybe not that good in that sense. So I'm not sure, or maybe this mapping might be outdated. So I'm not sure. So but there was shelling. So the Israeli Navy and the Air Force attacked the location they detected where they come out from, and they also attacked the tunnel system and warehouse used by the Qassam Brigade to do this amphibious operation. So what happened is that according to the IDF, they say that this Hamas suicide divers actually exited a tunnel along the coast, and then they actually tried to infiltrate via the sea. So you can see that this operations within this entire infrastructure, military infrastructure created by Hamas is actually very, very comprehensive, which also does reasons why until now we still have not seen the Israeli ground offensive, because they really need to plan very carefully what they're gonna do. And 2 days ago, I reported, the previous SITREP, I reported about this possible ground offensive, or at least some kind of a push into the central region of Gaza. This ultimately turned out to be just exchange of fire. So they did not actually enter in. This was the previous information by Middle East Spectator. They mentioned about the fighting on the eastern part of Meghazi, and in the end they did not actually penetrate through. So this fighting is just on the border. So there is artillery used though, so it was quite serious, this engagement. And otherwise, let me see, what else do we have? Airstrikes continue within Gaza over the past 2 days, on the 24th to the 25th, as usual. Just over on the 24th, they reported to have strike over 400 targets, and multiple leaders within the Hamas structure has been killed, as usual. And I'm not sure, how the Hamas, whoever is within the leadership, how do they feel and think about it? Because it does seems like a suicide mission to whatever they are doing, because they are fighting overwhelming force. So let's see how this goes. And then another very interesting information, other than the usual rocket strikes that we see from the Hamas firing into Israeli territory, for example, at Tel Aviv, Ashdod, we have this over this Bet Shemesh. This is actually outdated information. Over at Mufakim, also at Nahal Oz, and all these are usual places that we see in the Beersheva, as well as this Riem military base. There is this very interesting one. they fired a long-range rocket 200 kilometers all the way to Eilat, or Eilat, and this is actually the port city or port town. I'm not sure. Maybe you can call it a city, all the way along at the Gulf of Aqaba. I never know this is called the Gulf of Aqaba. So okay, yeah. So this is a alternative port. So that is actually non-Mediterranean for the Israeli. So they actually fired a rocket 200 kilometers away, and this rocket is allegedly called the Ayesh 250, Ayesh 250 missile. They call it a missile. So yeah, maybe it's a missile. So and to launch at this town. There's no indication it hits its target or not, because it's simply information from the Qassam Brigade saying that they fired at this city. So another long-range missile was actually fired at Haifa. This is a separate different type of rocket. This is a R160 rocket. So this is not the first time as well. They also fired the same rocket at Haifa on two other occasions, on the 11th and on the 17th. So within the West Bank itself, we have some fighting reported at Kakilia. Kakilia tends to see some fighting from time to time, 19th to 22nd. And another one was a major raid over at Jenin. Previously, we mentioned about the concentration of Israeli forces over around Jenin. And in fact, they even launched airstrike. And operations within Jenin, or the Jenin camp, continues. And this time around, heavy fighting was reported. The IDF mentioned about arresting 2 individuals. And this information can also be corroborated by Palestinian sources about the fighting, about people dying or martyring or whatever. So that's one thing. So this Jenin operation is actually one of the major ones. There is also this is actually outdated, so this is 22nd. So yeah, but otherwise, actually the entire so-called anti-terror operation or raids within West Bank has suddenly died down by a lot, because they seems to have completed most of the missions, and we only seeing limited raids and attacks on this potential terror cells within the West Bank region. So yeah, so that's it from the West Bank. Over within the Lebanon Israeli border between Hezbollah or the Al-Qassam Brigade, Lebanon, and the Israeli side, there is continued shelling on each side. Typically, we are seeing anti-tank missile being fired at Israeli positions. Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it hit a tank or two, sometimes it doesn't. So we see the attack at Menara, over at Avivim, at Stula, and also the Israeli also attack using the tank. They fire at a Lebanese position over on the other side of Aramsha. So this is one. And then there was also okay, these airstrikes by the Israeli on Lebanese territory. This is this is basically a continuous thing on a daily basis. They attack whoever or wherever these attacks or shelling or anti-tank guided missile come from, or any suspected terror positions or bases they can find. They will actually airstrike their position. So then there is this very funny thing that I read from the IDF. So apparently a surface-to-air missile was launched to shoot down a surface-to-air missile that is trying to shoot down a drone. So a SAM trying to hit a drone. The IDF Area Defense Array actually intercepted a surface-to-air missile fired from Lebanon at a IDF drone. So and then so it's very interesting. The surface-to-air missile fired at the drone, and then the Israeli fired a surface-to-air missile to shoot down the surface-to-air missile, and then the Israelis sent an airstrike on this position where the surface-to-air missile was fired. Yeah, quite a mouthful. So basically, this is a SITREP for the day of 18 to 19 for the 24th to 25th of October. Again, I want to highlight, don't get caught up by all this propaganda and emotional appeal. I know people die in war. That's just war. No, war, people die. And there is a lot of people who say things to get clout. And I just want to highlight, when the information get too sensational, is most likely fake. You can also watch the other video I posted on the main channel regarding the claims about the Chinese sending six naval ships into the Middle East to to address this, or actually to come into this Israeli-Hamas conflict, in reaction to it. But actually, that's also a fake news. You can check out on the main channel. I talked about it, and then you will find out why are they in the Middle East. Thank you for watching, and yeah, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next update.